Welcome to the Mike and Much podcast, the first ever Bachelor finale recap podcast. We have my friend and producer, Max Kerman here. We have our pop cultural aficionado, Shane Cunningham here. For the first time ever, Mike on Much guest, Glenn McCauley.
Yes, correct. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here. You have a podcast yourself?
Yep, it's called the Bachelor Pod, apt title. But yeah, check it out.
So you're like our expert.
Yeah, I guess so. But, you know, on the Bachelor Pod, we like to think that we represent the average fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you guys ask me for any encyclopedic knowledge, I may not be able to answer that, but I'll do my best.
All right. So for our fans of the Mike and Much podcast, you might be wondering, why are the guys doing a Bachelor finale recap sort of business? You might be watching this on Periscope. You might be watching it on YouTube. You might be listening on iTunes right now. But the reason we're doing this is because Shane came in, and during one of his segments, The Dessert, we call it, as you know, if you're a loyal listener, Shane started going on about how he loves The Bachelor. Unbeknownst to me, Max goes, holy shit, I love The Bachelor as well.
I just had started watching the previous week, and I know there's been 21 seasons, but I want to let our listeners know and our viewers on Periscope know that it's never too late to start, because it went from being a show that I kind of like didn't pay attention to at all, and I knew that kind of existed out there in the culture, to my favorite show on television, literally in the last month. So
no hyperbole at all.
Yeah,
Best show on TV.
Yeah, like I think about it a lot. Like, it's really taken over my life. So this might be a good introductory, experience for anybody who's interested in maybe thinking about getting to
Jumping on board with The Bachelor, but
Exactly.
maybe not being there. And so if you're listening on iTunes and you're not watching visually, the place is all decked out. We actually have props for the first time ever
Good
on the
job.
Mike and Much
Shout out
podcast.
to Kristen
Shout out
Nicholas,
Kristen.
Yeah,
our gal who
there's
brought
flowers
amazing
here.
roses.
Glenn, do you guys
Not
have
just
flowers?
roses.
No.
Oh, roses, right. It's on brand.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever have roses on your podcast?
No, it's a lot less glamorous than you might think if you were listening to it on iTunes. We recently put up a YouTube feed, and you'll see that we're doing it from our bedroom wearing... my place is really drafty, so we're often wearing toques and the like. But no, I mean, I love this. This really reflects the Bachelor brand where we are right now.
Great.
So I think this is a fitting spot to really dig into this season and this finale.
4 dudes with too many roses. So, yeah, like, let's get into this thing. The finale happened. I'm guessing everybody watched it very, very, very astutely.
Let's give Shane some insights. Actually, no. I think Glenn should give a little recap about for people who are a little newer, and then we'll get to our thoughts on the finale.
That's great. Well, yeah, I guess as Bachelor Nation expected, Montreal's Vanessa Grimaldi ended up taking the crown, if you will. That's what you'd call it. But she got the engagement from old Nick Viall there.
And for new people, Nick Viall is a seasoned vet of The Bachelor.
Yeah,
What's his background?
This would be, I guess, his 4th go-around. So he started on Andy Dorfman's season, and he made it to the final 2, only to get rejected. Then he came back on Caitlin Bristow's season.
You know their last names.
Yeah.
You are an expert.
You got to know those last names. It's key for social media purposes too. But yeah, so he made it to the final 2 with Caitlin. Again, dumped. Then he took his he took his talents to Paradise, which is the Bachelor spinoff, Bachelor in Paradise, that goes down after the Bachelor and Bachelorette.
That's kind of like the sleazier show.
Yeah, what's
Exactly,
the difference?
yeah.
Everyone's just kind of banging, right?
Yeah, I mean they try to frame it as if they're trying to find love, but really they're in a resort in Mexico.
It's all about bone dogging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't get boned, you're gone.
Honestly, so you actually have pressure to
Perform.
fuck people. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Under the guise of love, right?
Under the
So,
guise of love.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of the things that
Isn't
sort
that
of
life? Anyway, sorry.
This is one of the things that, as someone that does not watch The Bachelor, but I did watch. I sped watched the finale, so I kind of jumped around. I saw
Right.
when both of them, Raven and Vanessa.
There you
Good
go.
job.
Nice,
Grimaldi,
Mike.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
met the parents. And the thing that sort of like is difficult for me, I found myself cackling, is the sincerity with which they're like, I love him, or I've never felt this way before. Because I'm like, you're 29 years old. You've clearly felt this way before. Stop lying to the parents and to me.
Yeah.
Is that how people normally feel watching this show? Or do they believe that there's a sincerity?
I think there's 2 types of fans. Like there's the middle America, who the show is really aimed toward, who they believe in the process. But then there's guys like us,
Trust the
who,
process.
Yeah, it's like sort of getting down to the nitty gritty and deciphering everything. It's so fun. Like, did the producers mess with them here? Or, like that's
Exactly,
what-
yeah.
Okay. So I'm not being cynical. That's just kind of how most people watch it?
Yeah, I think. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah,
how
I think there's two segments
Right,
of
exactly.
the show.
And it's fun just picking it apart, right?
Mhm.
Like, that line was ADR. Like, you know
Exactly.
what I mean? So-
I love watching it. Like
yeah.
that.
And going into in the final 4, I insisted that it was going to be who did I say was going to win? No, Corinne.
Oh, yeah.
So my theory was that Corinne was going to win because she was so much of like a prima donna and just an outrageous character that if Nick proposed and then they broke off the engagement, nobody would blame him for it.
Right.
And she's like young, and they could chalk up lots of excuses.
No one's going to blame him for breaking off the engagement with Vanessa, though. Like, it's clearly not going to work out. Can we all agree to that?
Yeah.
Even when she was asked
Okay,
directly.
get into your
Okay,
Vanessa
before we jump to
yeah.
that, were any of you surprised at the winner?
Absolutely not.
No.
I was like, I don't know what I thought. I had no opinion.
Well, I'm glad we had you on the show. To share your opinion, the one reason to be here.
Well, I thought it was Corinne, and then after that, I was a blank slate.
Oh, once Corinne was gone, you lost your will?
You thought he was going to choose Raven?
I just thought, like, here's the thing. I don't know Nick as well.
Right.
So, and between the two of them, I'm like, if I have to choose one, I guess I'm going with Raven. Raven, like, won't give me a hard time every time I have a conversation with her. Because that's what happens when he talks to Vanessa.
But it's just Vanessa's so much hotter than
Yeah.
Raven. And I really feel like Nick was blinded by ass a little
Yeah.
bit. Because they keep in mind, this show's only been on for 7 weeks. So they have this great love, but it's only 7 weeks of filming, unless I'm mistaken by that.
No, I think it's something like that. And you're
Yeah.
right, Shane, because, I mean, if you're to pick winners at the beginning of the season, you pick the
I'm
contenders
never
are the hottest
wrong.
ones,
I've
right?
I've been wrong a few times,
Yeah.
but just for the point of exaggeration, I've never been wrong at any of the girls I pick. I'm like, she's
Yeah.
going to win. And inevitably, the hottest one
Yeah.
wins.
Is that
Who's
your
not-
secret formula for picking? Just
Well,
the hottest one?
I call it classy hot because Corinne's very hot in a very sexy, slutty way.
Stop saying that.
What?
We had to delete.
Men can be sluts.
No.
Equal rights.
You can't say that because
Loose.
We got stop it. We got some text messages from some girlfriends and wives saying you can't use the word skanky on Instagram story. So I had to. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then I went in, and it turns out what did you call
Phony skank.
Whoa.
I ran it by my wife. I said, "Is this appropriate?" I was coming up with the term, and then she said, "That's absolutely fine." And she's a teacher, so I thought it would be okay. And she's a woman and a teacher. I did run that by people.
Just the spelling.
One woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I
how
wanted
you
to say
spell
skunk.
Yeah.
She stinks.
Skunk.
this is the kind of explosive drama that is worthy
Yeah,
of
for
a
real.
Bachelorette show. This is great so far.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone. I just mean someone who's more promiscuous.
Sure.
That's not a wife material for The Bachelor.
Right.
Typically, it's usually the more reserved, kind of, I can't say bitchy, but kind of a more annoying person who gets it, I
Sure.
find. Yeah.
Do you think it's because they're better at playing the game? They're more manipulative?
I do, yeah.
But I also think they're just like more like long-term partner material too.
Did you believe that, in the little I watched, that Vanessa was a sincere person? Because and maybe I got tricked. I felt like there was a sincerity to Raven that I was picking up on.
Yeah, she was a
That
sweet country bumpkin.
I think she's more sincere than Vanessa.
I
Because
really believe that.
I feel like Vanessa, we were being lied to the whole time because she's an actress. She's lived in L.A.
She's got skills.
Meanwhile, one of the
I
the
thought
B
I
plots.
thought she was a special needs teacher.
Yeah, for like the past
That was an
year or
acting
something.
gig?
That
That was a set.
the role of a lifetime.
And
Yeah.
she was doing research?
But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it on our pod before. That's one of the problems with the modern Bachelor is that if you look at the resumes of all these people, even though they'll be like, he's a carpenter,
Yeah.
he's actually a singer-songwriter. And if you go to YouTube, you'll find
Well,
millions
They're
of
all
vi-
entertainers.
I went onto
Yeah,
the Reddit
exactly.
Bachelor page, and she was hosting like a video games.
Yeah, I saw
tutorial.
that. That's right.
Vanessa was like her last gig was like the hot video games chick, like talking about the new
Yeah,
product.
her Montreal accent was thick in that video.
Oh, yeah.
She
I didn't.
softened
That
it.
annoyed me also.
Yeah.
Like when the odd French accent.
Why was
slipped-
that annoying?
I find it annoying. Maybe it's offensive again. I don't know what I can say, but these are my real opinions.
So,
Did anyone find that Nick liked to lift people a lot? It made me feel uncomfortable.
Well, the chicks are running at him like
Yeah.
80 miles an hour. What are you going to do?
Lifting.
They're
He loves
always running,
he-
though.
He loves grabbing butts too.
Yeah.
As you know,
he's always making out.
And
Yeah.
he loves being on like the ground, like with Raven especially.
yeah.
Like,
In that
remember
bog.
the mud kid?
Yeah.
And then he did it again on the ice.
In the snow. Yeah, you're right.
Now, my one thing that drove me nuts, and this drove everybody nuts, about Vanessa, is that she'd cry at every interview, at every juncture. She was always crying, and she was like petulant about the fact that she had to compete with another woman for his affection. I was like, that is the point of the show.
Well,
gets to the
she'd
final-
never seen the show. She
Yeah,
revealed
she
that on the final
claimed-
row.
Yeah, she claimed she
which
doesn't
is
believe half an
almost
episode.
unbelievable.
insane.
I know.
Of
Yeah, she's
course.
got a call from her agent. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, there's this gig. Do you want to do it? She's like, what do I got to do? You got to marry somebody. I'm in.
Yeah,
Okay, but
exactly.
okay, so let's say she had never seen the show. She shows up. There's 30 other women. It must have clued in pretty quickly. So by the she gets to the final 2, which is an accomplishment in itself, and then she goes, "I just don't know if I can be with someone who might like somebody else." It's like that is literally the point of the show.
Yeah.
It's like stop. Anyway, just the amount of times she was crying about something that was so obvious in the first place drove me nuts.
Yeah.
Well, she's one of those people I find that when things are good, she's fine. But the second one minute problem happens, she's just a nightmare all of a sudden.
Oh yeah.
And just starts complaining and crying about it. And life is filled with problems, especially in marriage. It's never going to work
You're going to
out.
say, especially my life.
My marriage, my life.
Here's a question. I was thinking about the two of them because they've been engaged for how long? How long have they been engaged?
Oh, they
for?
said, what did they say? American Thanksgiving was when the show wrapped.
So they've been engaged for the last.
I
Whatever.
thought they said 4 months.
4 months.
yeah, that
Okay.
sounds right.
So she probably asked, so what happened with you and Raven and in the fantasy suite? And I wonder what Nick, like, she probably asked him that like
Oh,
shortly after it
man.
actually. And Nick was probably like, I don't know. And then she's
Yeah.
been watching the show in real time. Sorry, like with the rest of us. Like, can you imagine the conversations she's been having every week with Nick, like via text
Well,
message?
they said they've been having a lot of arguments. She
Yeah.
also said she couldn't stomach to even watch the fantasy suites.
Yeah.
Oh, she said that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said she'd had viewing parties with her whole family, and there were certain episodes, obviously, like
I mean,
you
okay,
can't
so
watch
let's
that.
give her,
There's a lot of butt grabbing.
so much
And
person
just making
lifting,
out with
too.
And
everybody.
Raven
Yeah.
was begging for an orgasm too.
That's right.
I know. And then
Because
she did a
Raven had never
happy
had an
dance.
orgasm. I know you didn't watch that episode, but she was like teasing.
I'm tuning in every episode next year.
She was teasing Nick. I've never reached climax, and it was kind of an
And then the
interesting part.
next day, after she wakes up in the morning, she's got the biggest smile on her face, and then he says goodbye, and then she's just walking around Norway, and it's basically like the 500 Days of Summer scene.
Oh.
You make my
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah.
She's like literally like doing cartwheels in the snow. It's just like and like kissing horses and stuff like that. It was crazy.
But that was the producers at work. You know that.
Oh,
right,
of course.
Max? Okay.
She directed the whole scene.
She's like, now hit it, boys.
Okay, so let's give Vanessa the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that she does love Nick. What's his last name? Vile?
Vile.
Nick Vile. It's like in a rock band
a
or
villain
something.
last
Yeah.
name.
Also,
yeah.
Vanessa Vile is like,
Oh,
That's a
alliteration.
prime- yeah,
That's a pretty-
yeah.
I kind of like it. But anyway, let's give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she does love Nick, and that could you imagine then if you are having these viewing parties with your family and his future in-laws, and he's literally canoodling and lifting up everybody and grabbing butts, like just the episode I saw, if that was like my significant other, it'd be crushing. How do you even talk your way out of it?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a hard relationship to start. Like, it's hard to start a relationship anyway, and then to have the shadow of the show
Or do you think
looming.
that-
But
like,
it has
I don't know,
50
man.
years of experience.
Do they
That's
all
true.
just accept the artifice, though?
I think they
It's
must.
just showbiz.
Yeah.
Year 1, I think it was kind of like a shocking concept. Year 15, it's just like it's part of America now.
Oh, here's another thing. Okay, so speaking of like the people that go on this show, right? The contestants and then obviously the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. When I was watching the finale, I'm like, okay, it's like I get what Nick and Vanessa and Raven are getting out of it, but when they were going to meet his family, like these are just like suburban people in their home. Like there was almost like I felt uncomfortable watching them interact in front of cameras because it's almost like I mean I guess they've been through it a couple times now, right? Because
Yeah,
he's been on
Nick's
the show.
family, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, his family didn't want him to do it. It seemed like his mom was in tears every time she was on camera. Like, I just didn't want to go through this again.
Yeah, it really seemed like you're putting your family through the ringer, like just by
Big
making
time.
them go.
Well,
on
this was
TV.
his 4th time, too.
I know, 4 times. he's done it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Including the Paradise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How long did he last in Paradise?
pretty long. He had
He had a pretty hot one in Paradise,
Yeah.
I found, too.
What do you think Nick's numbers are like?
Well, at the beginning, on the show, he had a girl on who he had already fucked at a wedding.
Yeah.
That was one
Shane,
of
we're
the...
periscoping.
You can't swear on Periscope?
I have no idea.
That was one of the contestants, was a girl he had already been with.
Oh.
yeah.
So
major
that was
plot line.
interesting.
And then so
She
she-
was very annoying.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
gets out of like the limo to like on her first night. He's like, "Hey, like, can you imagine that?" Like, and he had no idea who. And he's like, "Oh, I remember you from 9 months ago at this random wedding I was at."
Right.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
random.
so did we feel bad for Raven? Do we feel like she was crushed and that she really thought it was going to happen?
Well, you could tell at the end when Raven was sent home, she's already saying the key words to try to position herself to be the next Bachelorette.
Yeah,
Did
totally.
you notice
Yeah,
that?
she
She's
didn't
like,
seem that broken
Why
up about
can't I
it."
find love?
Yeah.
I'm never gonna find a man. She was saying all that stuff.
Tears were
but
not
I
that
felt
heavy.
I did feel bad, not that she lost, but that she she's not going to be the Bachelorette because they did the Rachel as
Right.
the first black Bachelorette. So I did feel bad in that sense.
But she is headed to paradise, as was confirmed.
Rachel
on,
is?
No, Raven.
Oh, sorry, Raven is.
Yeah, Raven is
She
flying
doesn't
south.
seem like a girl who's made for paradise.
I know,
Like,
but I think there's a lot about Raven we didn't see because she was painted as the Southern sweetheart, right? But if you saw how easily she was like, yeah, I want to marry Nick, no problem. Like, she bought into the process, so she wants to get into the machine where after this she'll be able to, be a
would you
social
call
media
her
star.
the Southern skank? No, I'm kidding. I know we can't use that word.
Yeah, don't paint Glenn into that corner. But I like it because Glenn, you're like the Bachelor veteran, so you're like, I think there's a lot we didn't see about Raven.
Yeah, and I think you can say that about, every contestant, really. I think there's a lot about Vanessa we didn't see because she was really painted as, the
Some positive we
intelligent-
didn't see, maybe.
Yeah, exactly, or just maybe some craziness too. There were little glimpses of it. Remember when they were on that boat and I don't know, he
Little
was asked.
glimpses of craziness in Vanessa? I thought she was just a very apparently nuts.
Oh, okay, well,
Because what was it? You said because the thing about Vanessa is that I think she reminds everybody, girl and guy alike, of like an ex-partner who you just got into the worst arguments with all
Ooh,
the
interesting,
time.
yeah.
Like literally I remember I've had flashbacks to times in my life where you just get in one dumb argument after the next, and you can just see, and sometimes I've been the one instigating it, but I feel like all of us have been in relationships where you're like, oh my god, and that's what
You can feel the storm coming.
The trauma of watching Vanessa just go well, you're not going to move to Montreal. I spend time with my family. It's like there was no willingness to compromise or meet in the middle or recognize that the guy you're quote unquote falling in love with is from Milwaukee and he lives in L.A.
Yeah.
And you love your family in Montreal. It's like, well, if that's a make or break issue for you, then get the hell out.
Yep.
Because he's not going to move to Montreal.
Certainly not.
And that's that.
Yeah.
So I just
He's a
think-
proud American,
Yeah.
as he
As he's mentioned. He's like, it's funny. He's like, I love America. I kind of love my country.
Okay, after that breakdown, so let's say Vanessa's from Montreal.
Yeah.
Say she's an Arkells fan, and now her and Nick are famous, and they want to come out to a show.
They're on the guest list.
Would you feel bad though after just ripping her apart?
Yeah.
Would you share your opinions?
That would be so interesting. No, I definitely wouldn't.
You're a pro. You're saying,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, I loved you on the show.
I love the Bachelor.
Yeah.
I think they enter into a contract when they go on there to be like, we can say whatever we want about your bodies and your attitude. It's like you're open to being picked apart, really, which is kind of bad.
Like a
but-
social contract.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
us.
Do you
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
people love watching it though, to get to see this sort of like carnal side?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I love the first episode's always the best when you just get to rate the people coming out of the limo, right? Whether
least
they're men or
favorite,
women.
Yeah, my least favorite's actually the finale.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
Yeah.
it's such a foregone conclusion.
Exactly.
You pretty much, if you've watched the show for
Yeah.
any amount of time, you know who's going to win.
Yeah,
And there's so much filler.
exactly.
Like they have to make it 2 hours, so a lot of it is just skating as
Oh,
Nick's
big
kind
time.
of dancing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so obvious too because they make it whoever's got the rockier road in the finale, that's who
Wins.
wins.
Yeah.
It's obvious every time. Like Raven was ready to do it.
Yeah, they got the audience like on Raven's side
Yeah,
just to
exactly.
pull the carpet out.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a couple that's broken off the engagement before the final show?
Yeah, what was I didn't watch
what,
that
Juan
season.
Pablo?
What was? Yeah, Juan Pablo.
Kristen, speak up.
Come step in here for a
Yeah.
second. You're also an expert.
Yeah,
Who was-
Kristen
You-
Nicholas.
She got all of the props as well. If
Then
you're
there
watching
was
on
the
Periscope.
one guy who switched his
Pablo?
choice during after the final rose.
Oh,
Remember?
crazy.
Yeah, that was
Molly.
Jason Resnick. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's another question. Do you think that we will ever have when is our first second generation Bachelor or Bachelorette going to happen?
Ooh, that's an interesting question.
Like meeting the kids of Trista and
Yeah.
Ryan,
Right?
right? That's the last
Is that,
time I
that's the only one who has kids, isn't it, though?
Yeah, good question, Shane. I don't know.
Only one couple of the whole seasons are together, right?
No, there's a few.
There's a few?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a few still going.
Okay, so they're still going strong.
Recently, they've had some pretty good luck with it. The last, who Sean and Catherine are together.
Well, they're a
There's
stronger
couple of
brand
them.
together.
Okay,
right?
as
Yeah,
someone
exactly.
who's new to the show and only has experience with this season, I will say I kind of love Nick as he is like the perfect Bachelor contestant. No,
Seeing
as a
some
guy-
doubt from Mike over here. I don't know.
No.
not
Okay,
feeling it.
okay. But here's what I'd say is
I
that
don't like people picking me up.
no, he's easy in the eyes, but he's not so handsome that you want to that you're jealous of. Him.
He's not intimidating.
He's
but
not
he's
intimidating,
good-looking.
but he's good looking.
Yeah.
And
Well, he picked it up too, by the way, in the last in this season.
his
Trainer. Yeah,
he's gotten in better shape. But he's also smart enough to be able to string some sort of pseudo philosophical ideas out there into the world, but like not so smart. Like he's clearly dumb enough to still be on this show, like to be a contestant on the show.
I think he's
Like,
emotionally not intelligent.
he's
I
the-
do
Yeah.
think he has a high IQ though.
Yeah, but anyway, I just think he's the perfect sweet spot as a male viewer. Like I loved watching everything. I was like, and he was just the right amount of earnest, but you could also tell he was a dude. So like anytime like they'd be like, so how's your day with Corinne? He's like, Corinne, she's got a lot of spunk to her, and like his face never lies.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can always tell what he's really saying. He's like the most ultimate like dude in that way. It's like you're just like a dude, and I like that.
Well,
about
when
him.
he was talking to Raven about how great she was, his eyes started watering, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he's already feeling so bad. And then I did like him a little bit more at that point.
Did
So
you cry at that moment?
I started watering up a little bit because Raven's portrayed as such a sweetheart, and I thought she was until this news about Raven in Paradise.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, how did Nick compare to other bachelors though? Like,
Well,
did you like him?
No,
on
you
a-
guys are right. I think. Yeah, I mean, because he's been on 4 times now, it's been a roller coaster ride of whether or not I've liked Nick, and he kind of redeemed himself in Paradise.
That's what
the
everybody
new
says.
Nick revealed himself. He had a different haircut. He was more buff.
Did he have a beard before?
Way more.
No,
fun.
he looked a lot better with a beard.
Yeah,
he might have had a
helps.
beard in Caitlin's season,
And
but
he dyed his hair kind of that caramelly color.
yeah, he had a great image makeover, which really helped his brand. But
Glenn, have you ever cried at an episode of The Bachelor?
no, certainly not. I don't connect to it on that emotional level,
Right.
but I'm hoping to one day. Maybe we'll find.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
just got to find your bachelor or bachelorette. that can trigger
Precisely.
it.
But yeah, Nick was less of a dud than several previous bachelors, like Ben Higgins, for example.
Too
Chris
perfect.
Soules.
You think Ben?
Yeah, exactly. They're these like really white bread Christian boys.
Devoid of any humor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm taking you to my high school football field. Like, all of them did that kind of thing. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And none of them really seemed like they were interested in interesting women, which is why they ended up with kind of dud wives themselves. But Nick was like pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think.
I thought he was like
Generally
cool.
speaking, yeah.
Has there ever been a bachelor that comes from like a terrible family in like a pretty like not cool looking home?
No,
I don't think so.
Well, they still could, but there's a rule that the bachelor needs to be making a certain income to even be considered the bachelor. Not the contestants, but the bachelor himself.
Not only is the bachelor rigged. Oh, I was gonna say not
It's
only is
elitist.
life rigged. What were you saying,
Here's
Max?
what I say is if Nick was any cooler, he wouldn't be on the show.
That's
he,
a good
he
point.
would be
You're
self-aware
right.
enough to not be on a crazy show like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So he was just like in the perfect sweet spot. That like if he had like 2% more like self-awareness or humility.
then you're just on the show for a laugh, kind of. And
You,
that's
yeah,
not what
then
they want.
but they don't want an ironic guy like you on the show,
No.
just like sort of like making jokes the whole time. They want a guy who's literally gonna cry on camera like every episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick did it. And Nick's older, too, let us not forget. Like, he's 36,
36,
which
yeah.
is older than they usually are.
Vanessa was
so-
29.
Hey,
Yeah.
did anybody have any? Because I watched again. I only started the show like 3 weeks ago, but I watched the Women Tell All episode, and so there's Vanessa's from Canada, and there's another chick from Vancouver. I
Vancouver,
think.
yeah.
Did you guys do the Facebook?
I know the girl from Vancouver. It says she's a photographer.
Yeah.
She's an actress.
There we
We've
go.
used her in a Much promo before.
But here's the thing.
Yes.
I Facebook friend. I looked at the thing to see if we had any Facebook friends, and I don't have any. I couldn't even find Vanessa because she's probably gone private since. But that girl, Hillary Jenset, dude's wife.
Oh, okay.
Harold's wife.
Harold's wife
Yeah.
knows her, and Hillary is a production assistant. So I was like, oh, they must have been on set together.
That's why. That's the
Industry.
one. Yeah.
Dan, do we have any questions out there?
I have a question about how each of you would approach impressing Rachel. You know the
Oh,
the
yeah.
awkward meet and greet because there was the one.
Oh,
guy
right.
who
Yeah.
went for it.
Yeah, repeat,
Yeah.
repeat
We
the
haven't
question.
talked about after the final rose.
One of you,
yet.
because I don't know what they're talking about.
Oh,
So set it up.
So the question is, and Dan asked the question: how would, if we were bachelors on the next season, and because the Bachelorette is Rachel, how would we go about impressing her on a first impression? And she's the first.
Well, because this
African-American.
episode made history. We were kind of talking about it before we were rolling, and Dan was actually asking why he thought they would do the stunt of bringing contestants out early for Rachel's season when they've never done that before.
Oh, they did this in the after show.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so some of the bachelors for the next Bachelorette, they brought him out.
Yeah.
Which
How
has
many?
never
Like,
been done
all of them?
before.
Four of them.
Which was a little disappointing. I thought it was going to be more, but that's fine.
Okay, so we're the four. So
Yeah.
the premise is we're the
like,
four guys. And how does one make an impression? So what
Yeah.
did one of these guys do?
So
for
one of
instance?
them made the internet happen because
Oh,
he said,
Oh.
it was so
He
brutal.
said, Rachel, I'm going to go black and I'm never going back.
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
I put it on our Mike
Yeah,
on Much.
That's how I
social.
saw it.
It was like,
Yeah.
Right.
He just said it like such a nerd. But at least he had something prepared.
How's a cool way to say it?
Yo, no, I don't know. Backwards.
Yeah.
No. But everyone had time to prepare something. But the one dude was such a nerd about it, and he made it so awkward.
what did he say? I missed this part.
It was the other white guy, right?
Yeah, he
Blake,
kind of
I believe his
he
name
kind of
was.
fell apart in the moment and was like,
guy.
"Hi, yeah, what do I do? Where do I go?" And then he's like, "Hey, everyone, take a picture." And then he hugged her, which was kind of a saving grace because that was actually the least awkward thing he did.
But he didn't pick her up.
He didn't pick her
I
up.
don't think any of them
No.
did any of them.
Typically,
It's all right
the
in my books.
well, yeah, the girls typically.
Let's
yeah,
go through this.
never
How would you impress Rachel if you were
Ooh,
a
that's
bachelorette?
tough because
This is a
I'm
good
not.
idea.
I'm not a huge fan of the gimmicks out of the limo, which has become commonplace now.
And they don't make those up.
No, I mean
either,
that's
yeah.
like you just feel like they take them into a prop room and like see anything you like, and it's like, oh, that unicorn mask is funny, but
It's like the dunk contest from a few years ago when people just started using
yeah,
props
yeah,
all
and it
the
just
time.
got out of hand.
Okay.
Right?
I'm with you.
But
You're a
I think-
purist.
yeah, I think I'd go sincerity. I think I'd make sure they knew my name, and a great way to do it is to plant something like you divulge a piece of a secret and be like, but we'll talk about that inside, just so you can continue the conversation.
Tease,
right?
and
The
then
tease,
and then a reason to
exactly.
talk later.
Yes,
But
yeah.
that wouldn't work in this instance because
Yeah, that is
that
true.
might be weeks later
Yep.
till they shoot.
Well, we'll
Yeah,
see how
this
devoted
was,
she is.
it was a curveball, like
Yeah.
putting yourself into the mind of those guys, and they had to go in front of a live studio audience.
Did
too.
you love that stunt?
Yeah, I liked it. I
Me
mean, it was a
too.
little something. I was
done? Like the guy's line?
bringing them out.
No,
Oh,
they've
oh.
never done that before.
know.
And I think a big reason was this was a kind of a less exciting Bachelor
Yeah.
finale where even if they usually it's hyperbolic, but this episode more so when they're like the most shocking Bachelorette final ever. So instead of saying that, they said the most historic thing ever is happening after the final rose.
That was the other thing about the host. So I put it on, and it's like he comes in off the top, and he does his big sell job, and he's like, but stick around, because you won't want to miss this. And I'm like, who's leaving? Like, if you
Yeah.
got them here, they're not going anywhere. Like, it's like, I don't know. I felt like it was just a little
It
bit.
is part of the bit, though. He almost does that as like a wink to that's
you.
something he always says.
Don't think you got out of your gimmick. What would you do if you met Rachel?
I don't know because I would actually think about it for weeks and weeks and plan something, and I'd like to think it'd go over pretty funny. But if it was right now, I would just be a bumbling idiot like I am now.
Right. Maxie, what would you do?
I would do the old Greg Veerman. I go.
By the way,
Oh.
I invented that move. Not to take credit for that.
For our
And
listeners
Greg
at
will
home,
admit to
Yeah,
that.
sorry if you're listening. Max literally just pointed at Glenn's chest, and when Glenn looked down, Max did the old nose.
It took me a while to look
flicked
down.
him in the- I was
yeah,
like,
but
do
I
the
was
thing,
ready.
play with me.
Yeah. Sorry. I thought you were doing.
me.
Thought you were doing the ET for a second.
His finger starts glowing.
Yeah, actually, no. We could learn something from our friend Julian. We could just get out. And, you know what I would probably do? I'd probably just propose right there. Just put her on the
One
spot.
guy-
that's a good
just
move.
get
yeah.
down.
One guy did that,
Oh yeah,
though.
he did. He had a
Oh,
ring.
okay. I didn't watch that part.
Shit,
Never
I
mind.
forgot.
Yeah.
A song
Great
would have been
minds.
cool, but if they're not singers, then they're done,
Yeah, you
right?
could have
Like,
come
Max,
out
you
with a
could have sang
song.
something.
My heart's always yours. You already got the thing
Oh,
written.
it's most strongly acoustic.
Yeah.
Game
Good
over.
idea. Game over.
Am
me
I
up.
the only guy though who is counting since this was the first black Bachelorette?
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely cognizant of the race of the people.
Oh, big
And
time.
I did I bet my wife that there'd be 2 black guys and 2 white guys, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Nice move.
You're
Yeah.
some sort of prophet when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, because you just think like because it's on everyone's mind, right? But it's like, what did you think of that?
I see. I was recording, and here's my story with the final episode is that we were in the studio and they were listening to stuff, but I had my headphones in watching The Bachelor, and then every like 10 minutes, I'd be like, Max, can you pay attention to the song? I'm like, yeah, I'm in the middle of something, and then I had to go home and try to find an illegal link, and that was a nightmare. So I didn't get to see all of it, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming clean. All right. Well, I mean, guys, you have any final thoughts? Maybe we'll go around. Shane, why don't we start with you as we wrap this thing up?
Geez, why don't we start over there? I got to think of some final thoughts.
Okay, my final thoughts are that Nick and Vanessa are not going to get married. And if they do get married, it is not going to last long. There's so many problems in that relationship already that it's just like not a sustainable thing. And and the thing is, Nick has got to be thinking to himself, man, I eliminated the wrong people from the earlier episodes, because the ones he was left with, like Rachel, I think was really impressive, but Raven, Vanessa, and Corinne were not wife material in any way for that guy.
Max, you old romantic.
It's true.
Glenn. final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Max, I concur. I thought this season was weird because a lot of the cuts early on were like, whoa, really? And then when we found out Rachel was going to be the Bachelorette, that was a game changer. I think we all thought maybe they'd end up together, and she seemed like the best choice,
She was
right?
by far the best choice. They're closer in age. She comes from her family is way nicer than Vanessa's family.
Yeah.
She's like a lawyer, smart. Like she ticks off every box that you'd want in a partner.
Yeah. So this season kind of ended not the way I would have liked. I thought it kind of sputtered at the end. I didn't see him.
Has
with
there been
any
an
of them.
interracial marriage or
No.
no?
The show's notorious for it gets criticized a lot that they have token black people and then
Yeah.
they whisk them away way too quick.
And they're pretty. Their stance has. They've never addressed that at all. Either they're pretty unabashed and well, whatever. We do what we want. So I'm really looking forward to this next Bachelorette because, guys, we are making history.
Yeah. And you know what? As a panel that's as diverse as us, I'm glad that the Bachelor, needs to try harder.
Well, you're a quarter Indonesian, Mike.
That's fact. Not a
Half Jewish.
Bachelor. Though. Yeah.
Not yet.
What's your final thought?
I really think you nailed it. Like everything
Yeah.
you were saying, I absolutely agreed with. And I think, like you were saying earlier also, we've all dated a Vanessa, and I really feel like I've dated a Vanessa. So anytime she's on the screen, I'm mildly terrified. And I do not, and for Nick's sake, I really hope this relationship doesn't work out. And he's doing Dancing with the Stars next. They always fall in love with their dance partner. That's what happened to
Every
Chris
time.
Soules on a season. He was engaged, fell in love with his dance partner, broke the engagement.
Like Vanessa, if they're still together when he does Dancing with the Stars, Vanessa's going to be so jealous of his hot dance partner.
Yeah.
It's already going to fail.
She's got a jealous heart.
Yeah.
Well, and I think they'll be together in 6 months. Does anyone want to take that bet? All
Ooh, I'll take that bet. Sure.
right, $5.
$5 sounds great,
What's
Mike.
today?
Even if they are together, it's going to be fake, though, for Instagram likes. Because
Ooh,
she wants
yeah.
to keep that big
That's
ass
true.
ring.
So you're not taking that
They
money?
need to be together for 2 years or she's got to return the ring. And you saw her eyeing that thing.
So you're not taking the bet?
No way.
I take the bet. They're down.
Let's do it.
Nice.
All right, $5 each.
Sounds great. So
Shane
what
saying no to
did
it.
we say? 6 months? So
6 months.
Hey,
It's
when does
March
the
now.
next one start?
March, April,
So it'll
May,
be
June,
September?
July.
Summer?
Yeah. We'll figure it out off air.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right,
Plenty
let's
of
wrap this
Bachelor.
up.
Yeah.
I guess that's that. Glenn, thanks so much for coming
Guys,
on.
thanks for having me on. Anytime you
We're
want.
gonna do it
let's
again.
Do it.
Yeah,
for
check out
sure.
his podcast, the Bachelor Podcast.
Yep, bachelorpod.ca or the Bachelor Pod on Twitter. But you'll find it. You'll
You'll
see
find it. Do you record in off season?
We've teased it before, but we've never gotten around to it.
Well, if something groundbreaking happens in the interim, we'll get together. We'll have
Yeah,
an
that sounds
emergency
great.
podcast.
Yeah, you guys should come on our pod one day.
We'd
We'll
love
just do
to.
a huge round table. It'll be awesome.
All right.
Love it.
Let's
Can we
do
do
it.
it in your bed?
Yeah, we totally can. I got
Max.
flannel sheets.
All right, thanks so much for everyone that watched on Periscope. Thank you for listening on iTunes or SoundCloud or any of that business. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much. We'll see you next week if we don't die on the weekend.